Ever wondered which Hollywood stars can't seem to put down a cigarette? Well, you might be surprised by the names on this list. Hollywood has always been a land of glamour, fame, and unfortunately, bad habits. Chain smoking has been a part of the scene for decades, with some of the biggest stars in history lighting up on and off the screen. In this video, we'll take you through the lives of the 25 biggest chain smokers in Hollywood, revealing the stars whose love for cigarettes became as legendary as their acting careers. From rising stars to icons, we'll uncover the personal struggles, on-set habits, and shocking revelations behind these smoking hot legends. Number 25, Peter O'Toole. And finally, at number 1, we have Peter O'Toole. Known for his incredible performances and smoking habits, O'Toole's cigarettes were a regular part of his roles and public appearances. His smoking was a huge part of his Hollywood career, adding intensity and authenticity to his performances. It wasn't just a personal quirk. O'Toole's smoking habit became an essential part of his legendary screen presence. It helped reinforce his status as one of Hollywood's greatest actors. You won't believe what came next. Number 24. Elizabeth Montgomery. Elizabeth Montgomery's smoking habit was a key part of her public image. Her cigarettes were often visible in her roles and appearances, adding to the sophisticated and charismatic persona she brought to the screen. Smoking became an integral part of her Hollywood career, reflecting the charm and elegance that defined her roles. It helped cement her legacy as one of television's most iconic actresses. But who could top Montgomery in terms of unforgettable on-screen smoking? Number 23. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe wasn't just known for her beauty. Her cigarette was a big part of her image. In movies like Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and Some Like It Hot, her smoking added to her glamorous and mysterious look. But why was her smoking such a key part of her persona? It wasn't just the cigarette, it was how it matched her sophisticated yet fragile side. Monroe often used a cigarette holder, making it an iconic part of her style. Her smoking became a symbol of both her elegance and vulnerability, which made her even more fascinating. But what was really going on behind the scenes? Wait until you hear about an actor whose smoking habit took a very different turn. Number 22. Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando's smoking was just as legendary as his iconic performances. His cigarettes were a constant in his intense, complex roles. Brando's smoking habit wasn't just a personal choice. It was part of what made his on-screen presence so powerful. His smoking added depth and authenticity to his characters, helping to define him as one of Hollywood's greatest actors. But what made Brando's smoking so unforgettable? Number 21. Elizabeth Taylor. When you think of Hollywood glamour, Elizabeth Taylor is one of the first names that come to mind, and her smoking was as iconic as her career. From her role in Cleopatra to Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, Taylor was often seen with a cigarette in hand, which became part of her signature style. Her smoking matched her sophisticated public persona, often appearing in scenes that matched her dramatic roles and glamorous lifestyle. Her cigarettes weren't just props, they symbolized her star power and the complexity behind her Hollywood life. Number 20. Paul Newman. Paul Newman was the definition of cool, and his cigarette only made him seem tougher in films like Cool Hand Luke and The Hustler. His smoking wasn't just a habit, it was part of the tough guy image that made him a star. The cigarette added to the authenticity of his roles, making him feel raw and real on screen. But was there more to it than just acting? How did his smoking affect his personal life? Next, we'll dive into the story of a star whose smoking left a lasting mark, both on and off the screen. Number 19. Steve McQueen. Steve McQueen was known for his effortless cool, and his cigarette was a key part of that image. In films like Bullet and The Great Escape, McQueen's cigarette became a symbol of his rebellious, rugged screen persona. His smoking wasn't just a habit, it was tied to his identity as the king of cool in Hollywood. McQueen's smoking enhanced his tough guy roles, reinforcing his image as a daring, independent spirit. But was there more to his smoking than just looking cool? The next actor on our list took his smoking to a whole new level, and you might not believe why. Number 18. Warren Beatty. Warren Beatty was known for his charm, and his cigarette became part of that famous appeal in films like Bonnie and Clyde and Dick Tracy. Beatty's smoking wasn't just a habit, it was part of his suave and charismatic on-screen persona. His cigarette often appeared alongside his signature roles, adding to his status as one of Hollywood's leading men. Beatty's smoking complemented his sophisticated style, making it a key part of his Hollywood image. But what was the real reason behind his smoking? Number 17. Audrey Hepburn. Audrey Hepburn combined elegance with a cigarette in a way that became unforgettable. In Breakfast at Tiffany's, Hepburn's portrayal of Holly Golightly, with a cigarette holder in hand, cemented her status as a style icon. Her smoking wasn't just a fashion statement. It was a chic addition to her already glamorous persona, reflecting the sophistication and grace that made her a beloved figure in Hollywood. Hepburn's smoking also added a layer of complexity to her character, showing the depth and charm that made her so captivating. But how much of that charm was tied to her smoking? The next legend on our list shows how cigarettes could define a star's whole career. Number 16. Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson's acting style was as distinctive as his cigarette, which was often visible in his roles and interviews. His smoking added to his edgy, unpredictable persona, making it a major part of his public image. Nicholson's cigarettes weren't just props. They reflected the intensity and complexity that made his characters unforgettable. His smoking became an essential element of the roles he portrayed, helping to establish him as one of Hollywood's most dynamic and daring actors. But what about his personal life? Was his smoking a sign of something deeper? Number 15. Robert Mitchum. Robert Mitchum was the epitome of the tough guy, and his cigarette was a signature part of his brooding, intense on-screen persona. Mitchum's smoking was practically a trademark, especially in the noir films that made him a star. His cigarettes helped define his gritty characters, adding authenticity to his roles in films like Out of the Past and The Night of the Hunter. Mitchum's smoking was integral to the atmosphere of his films, amplifying the tension and mystery that made his characters so compelling. Number 14. Charlton Heston. Charlton Heston's smoking habit was almost as legendary as his roles in Hollywood's grandest epics. From Ben-Hur to the Ten Commandments, Heston was often seen with a cigarette, adding to his commanding screen presence. His smoking fit perfectly with the epic scale of his roles, enhancing his larger-than-life persona. It wasn't just a personal habit, it was a key part of his powerful image. Heston's smoking highlighted his assertive, intense character traits, reinforcing the grandeur and depth of his performances. But did his smoking habit extend beyond the screen? The next actor on our list shows just how deeply a cigarette can be tied to a star's identity. Number 13. Faye Dunaway. Faye Dunaway's smoking was as iconic as the roles she portrayed. In films like Chinatown and Network, Dunaway's cigarette became an inseparable part of her glamorous, yet intense screen image. Her smoking habit didn't just complement her characters, it amplified her strength and sophistication, making her one of Hollywood's most formidable actresses. Dunaway's smoking was woven into her dynamic presence, adding to the complexity and allure of her on-screen characters. But did her smoking reflect something deeper in her career? Keep watching as we uncover more about the next star. Number 12. Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford was known for her intense, dramatic roles, and her smoking habit was just as relentless. Whether on or off the screen, Crawford's cigarettes were a key part of her public persona. Her smoking was a signature feature of her powerful presence, adding to the dramatic flair that made her such a memorable figure in Hollywood. It wasn't just a habit, it was an element that enhanced her roles, giving her an undeniable intensity that kept audiences captivated. But how did this relentless smoking affect her reputation off-screen? Wait until you hear about the next legend on our list, whose smoking left a lasting impression both in Hollywood and beyond. Number 11. Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra's smoking was as iconic as his music and movie career. His cigarettes became part of his signature smooth, charismatic persona. Whether he was on stage or in a film, Sinatra's cigarette was never far from his hand, reflecting the sophistication and effortless style that defined his career. His smoking habit wasn't just an accessory, it was an integral part of his image, adding to the suave and timeless charm that made him a beloved figure in entertainment. But what was it about his smoking that made it so iconic? Number 10. Richard Burton. Richard Burton was known for his commanding performances, and his smoking habit became a part of his intense on-screen persona. His cigarettes were as prominent in his public and private life as his powerful roles in films like Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf and The Spy Who Came In from the Cold. Burton's smoking added depth and gravity to his performances, amplifying the complexity and drama of his characters. It wasn't just a personal quirk. It became an essential part of his image, elevating his legacy as one of Hollywood's greatest actors. But how did this habit affect his personal life off camera? Number 9. Katherine Deneuve. Katherine Deneuve's smoking was just as chic as her French film roles. Known for her elegance and poise, Deneuve's cigarettes were often visible in her classic films, perfectly complementing her sophisticated image. Her smoking habit became a defining feature of her on-screen persona, adding to the allure and elegance that made her a style icon. Whether in The Umbrellas of Cherbourg or Repulsion, Deneuve's smoking was a visual metaphor for the complex characters she portrayed. It wasn't just about the cigarette, it was about the aura of mystery and glamour that surrounded her. What was it about her on-screen presence that made her smoking seem so effortlessly stylish? Find out as we move on to the next fascinating story of another Hollywood icon. Number 8. Judy Garland. Judy Garland's smoking habit was as intertwined with her career as her legendary voice and dramatic roles. Known for her extraordinary talent, Garland's cigarettes were a constant companion throughout her Hollywood journey, symbolizing both her glamour and personal struggles. Her smoking became a key part of her public image, adding layers of complexity to her iconic performances. It was not just a habit, but a visual element that enhanced her powerful legacy in Hollywood. But what did her smoking reveal about the woman behind the glittering lights? Number 7. Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman was the master of gritty performances, and his smoking habit was as famous as his intense roles. Hackman's cigarettes were often a prominent part of his screen image, enhancing his tough guy persona. His smoking added a layer of authenticity and depth to his characters, whether in The French Connection or Unforgiven. Hackman's smoking wasn't just a personal quirk. It was an integral element of his presence, complementing the raw power of his performances. What was it about Hackman's smoking that made it such a perfect fit for his roles? Find out as we move to the next star whose on-screen habits became a part of their lasting legacy. Number 6. Tyrone Power. Tyrone Power was known for his dashing roles and unmistakable smoking habit. His cigarettes were as much a part of his screen presence as his rugged charm and swashbuckling adventures. Power's smoking complemented his roles in romantic films and thrilling adventures, adding to his allure as one of Hollywood's leading men. His cigarettes were often seen amid epic duels or passionate love scenes, reinforcing his intense and charismatic on-screen persona. But how did Power's smoking reflect his larger-than-life character? Number 5. Lee Marvin. Lee Marvin was known for playing tough characters, and his cigarette was always with him. His smoking helped make his roles feel real and intense. It added to his tough guy image, making his performances even more powerful. Lee Marvin's smoking wasn't just a habit, it was part of the tough persona he built on screen. What was it about his smoking that made him stand out? Number 4. Ginger Rogers. Ginger Rogers was known for her elegance and love of smoking. In many of her films and public appearances, her cigarette was always part of her look. Her smoking added to her sophisticated, glamorous image, matching the grace and style she brought to the screen. It became an important part of her Hollywood persona, helping to solidify her as one of Hollywood's most beloved stars. Want to know who else made smoking a key part of their legendary career? Number 3. Brigitte Bardot. Brigitte Bardot's smoking was a big part of her glamorous image. In many of her films and public appearances, she always had a cigarette in hand. Her smoking added to her charm and style, showing off her bold and captivating nature. It was a key part of her look, helping to make her one of the most famous stars in French cinema. How did this smoking habit affect her image? Number 2. James Dean. Now there is James Dean, the poster boy for teenage rebellion. His smoking was more than just a habit. It was a symbol of the anger and frustration that marked his most famous roles, like in Rebel Without a Cause and East of Eden. Dean's cigarette wasn't just for show. It became a part of his image as the ultimate troubled youth. His smoldering looks and chain smoking created an aura of mystery, leaving fans wondering, how could such a talented actor, so full of promise, fade so quickly into the shadows? You won't believe the shocking twist in his career. Let's take a look at the number 1 spot. Number 1. Humphrey Bogart. Humphrey Bogart was a tough guy who became Hollywood's iconic bad boy. You've probably seen him with a cigarette in hand, whether he was playing Rick Blaine in Casablanca or Slim in To Have and Have Not. But what really made Bogart stand out wasn't just his acting, it was his cigarette. His smoky voice and constant smoking became a symbol of his rugged charm. It wasn't just a habit, it was part of his tough guy persona. So, how did a cigarette become one of the most recognizable parts of his image? Well, it was all about the characters he played, strong, resilient, and always ready for a challenge. His smoke-filled image made him unforgettable. But did his smoking ever cause problems in his personal life? Who do you think deserves the top spot in Hollywood's chain-smoking Hall of Fame? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more fascinating insights into Hollywood's most iconic stars.